Good evening and welcome to this installment of our Bible study. Not Bible study, but book study. Plan B, written by Dave Andrews. This is the first time that I come to you in interactive. So you will be able to use the chat feature, and you will also be able to speak your comments here. I'm going to record the whole session so that I can later, hopefully, be able to later upload it to Christian Anarchist, because this is the first time that I come to you from my new house. I call it New Covenant House because I want it to be a community for Christians who are interested in learning how to live in community. So now we have spent a few weeks in Matthew 5:6, which is the one that says, "Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled." And now I think we're going to spend approximately 3 weeks in Matthew 5:7, which is the one that talks about blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. So this word merciful or mercy, I looked it up, and one of the definitions of that is to get undeserved. When you're guilty, you get undeserved. You deserve punishment, but you are withholding it from the person. We'll look at an example of that next week. The woman who people wanted to stone her for because she was an adulteress. Yeah. And then in the third week, I think we will look at this concept of forgiveness, and also this concept. We're going to begin with that today already. The concept of treating each other as we would like them to treat us. And we're going to get into that a little bit because that is fundamental for Christianity. One of the foundations of Christianity is that, and it is also one of the foundations for New Covenant House. And so let's get into the text today. It's on page 38 if you have the book. If you don't, just listen and I will read every word. Almost every word. Jesus blesses those who seek justice. We talked about that quite a bit lately. But reminds us that true justice always needs to be full of mercy. So you deserve judgment, but it's being withheld from you. That's what mercy means, or at least in some definition. As far as Jesus is concerned, it is impossible for any of us to do justice to one another unless we show the same kind of mercy to others as we would hope and pray for others to extend to us in our need. Yeah, so that's what we want. We want other people to treat us the same way we treat them. But we want to treat them the way we want them to treat us, because that's if we want them to treat us the way we treat them, that might not be so good. Yeah. But anyway, so here the next part of it is, Jesus said we can summarize all the laws written in the Holy Scripture. And that's what I just said before. This concept of, we call it the Golden Rule, is fundamental to not only Christianity as a whole, but also to New Covenant House. So Jesus said we can summarize all the laws written in Holy Scripture and all the words uttered by the godly prophets in 2 commandments. One of which is love your neighbor as yourself. And that can be found in Matthew 22, verse 39. And there's the other one, which can be found in Matthew 22:37, which says that love God with all your heart, with all your soul, and all your mind. So on these two, and in that section of the little part of the Bible ends with, and these 2 concepts are the ones that are the foundation for all of Christianity. So, true spirituality means you should do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And that can be found in Matthew 7, verse 12. In the light of this truth, it is not surprising we can find the reciprocal mercy rule in all major religions. So the book lists maybe about a dozen religions where this is described. I'm not going to read all of them because it's going to be a bit too much for us. And some of these religions that I mentioned here, for example, Jainism, Baha'i, may not be known to a lot of people. Actually, I only found out about Jainism some relatively recently, for example. So, but they all have some version of this rule, and we're going to get into a little bit more about that in a minute. Just because this rule is in all religions doesn't mean that these religions invented it. I think that is inherent in us. That is something that we are born with. It is in the image of God. God created us that way. Yeah. So this is the ideal world. But, as you know, in Genesis, we messed that up pretty badly. So, and the purpose of Christianity is to get back to restoring the garden the way it was. That's what I think, at least. And this is one of the things that we can do to do it. So now, Dave Andrews continues with this, and this is where he's going to describe these different religions, what they say. There's a couple of differences between them, and we're going to get into that a little bit here. In Jainism, the call is descriptive. One who neglects existence disregards their own existence. That's what Jainism says. One who neglects existence disregards their own existence. That's descriptive. In Taoism, the mercy rule is instructive. Regard your neighbor's loss or gain as your own loss or gain. So that is when we try to treat others as we want them to treat us. And we, in the context of justice, we need to have the ability to step into their shoes, feel their pain. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to help them. So here's what it says again: regard your neighbor's loss or gain as your own loss or gain, so that you will really know what the person is going through. In Hinduism, Buddhism, Zoroastrianism, Confucianism, Judaism, and Baha'i, the mercy rule is imperative and is framed in negative terms. Never do to others what would pain you. Hurt not others with that which hurts you. What is hateful to you, do not do to your neighbor. Do not impose on others what you do not yourself desire. Desire not for anyone the things you would not desire for yourself. While in Christianity, Islam, and Sikhism, the mercy rule is imperative, just like the others were, but these are framed in positive terms. So in other words, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That was the Christian version. Do unto all people as you would they should do to you. I think that's the Islam version. Do unto all people as you would they should do to you. That's the Sikhism version. Treat others as you would be treated yourself. People of all religions, or none, all over the world, know that there are no shortcuts, that there are no quick fixes, and that we cannot hope to do justice if we do not practice the mercy rule. And do unto others as we would have them do unto us. So that's what we just mentioned before. To be able to do justice, we need to be able to step into the shoes of the other person to experience their pain. And in the church that I belong to, we had that discussion about how can we, as white people, I'm a white person, so how can I understand how people of color may be feeling when they have to go through discrimination on a daily basis? Can I actually step into their shoes and experience what they do? I don't know. I don't think so. But that's what required of us to do that. So Dave Andrews goes on, empathy is the heart of mercy. Empathy, we've talked about empathy before in another verse in these Beatitudes, which really are the introduction to the Sermon on the Mount. Empathy. Yeah. It is the capacity to feel how others feel. It's a pretty tall order. It is in empathizing and potential victims. It is in empathizing with potential victims, people in danger or distress, and feeling how they might feel so that we can be motivated to refrain from harming them and even to consider helping them, like Jesus did. I think I just mentioned something like that effect. Something that's that effect just a minute ago. Yeah. So I think we're going to stop here and come back next week and talk about some ways that can be done. And one of them is the parable about the woman who had committed adultery and people wanted to stone her, and Jesus intervenes there. So thank you for coming, and hopefully the recording worked so that I can upload it to Christian Anarchists and other places where others might be able to see it. So thank you for coming, and I'll see you back here next week. Same time, same place.